There's this little pie shop just outside of Leeds station. It's a well-kept secret. You have to look quite hard to find it if you don't know it's there. But I do. I got myself this one called the British Beast. It's basically a Melton Mowbray, your standard stand pie, but with a layer of piccalilli and a fistful of barbecue pulled pork. Not really into pulled anything usually. But they made me try one while I was in there a few weeks back, and I haven't had anything else since. And if you ask them, they'll bang it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes so all the jelly melts. Well worth the journey. 3 interviews for a poxy bloody security job. Madness. I was saying to Ken from the flats, oh, he's had to jack in carpentry. Retraining as a photocopier repairman. Don't understand it, just follows a book. He blames Brexit, does Ken. I said to him, well, you voted for it, Ken. He said, aye, I did. And they've begged it up already. Aye, and have you seen, they've moved a load of bloody immigrants into the flats. EU or immigrants. It's always one of them that's to blame. He's all right, is Ken, but he's only got the 2 tunes. So I've been bobbing back and forth to Leeds for these interviews. Well, there's nought round here. Nought round there, neither. But at least you feel you're doing summat, instead of just sitting on your hands. All through the last interview, which I didn't think went very well, truth to tell, and it was the 3rd of 4, I was thinking about my pie. Oh yes, quiet coach, nice little run back. Me pie, lovely. Highlight of my weeks of late. So I hot-foot it from the interview via the pie shop. Get to the station with time to spare. 57, but I can still nip about when food's in the offing. I gets on. Plenty of time. Find an empty seat. Slump down. Pull down the tray table. And lay the pie bag down as if it were full of diamonds. Then the train starts to fill up. Woman sits in the aisle opposite. We nod. Quiet coach isn't usually this busy. It's why I chose it. Only tonight it's more or less fully booked. Then this family bundle on, carrying more bags than seems decent, frankly. And they sit down at the table directly in front of my seat. Immediately start carrying on. Count 4 kids, 2 of them 8ish, 9ish, 1 baby in arms, and the other one, a little girl toddler, jumping between her dad and her mam. There's another man with them, a bit younger, maybe 20. He doesn't look right well. Kids are squawking, bawling, screeching. Parents are arguing with each other. They're not speaking English, so I can't deduce what's going on. They sit down with the coats on, more bags on their knees. They make a right picture. I'm looking at my pie in its bag. This isn't going to be the peaceful trundle home I'd hoped for. I think, well, I could save it and reheat it. That's a laugh. Cooking, not my game, I'm afraid. Once managed to give myself norovirus from spaghetti hoops on toast. You tell me. Emma used to do all that. She loved to cook. The family's still carrying on. Woman opposite's huffing and looking up at the quiet coach sign and shaking her head at them. When the train starts moving, there's usually a general quietening, like being at the pictures. You can rabbit all you like during the adverts, but once that logo goes up, you have to be quiet. Only this lot didn't get the memo. In fact, when we get going, they're even more frantic. Woman opposite's really cross now. You can see it. Fuming. She turns to me and she mouths, "It's the quiet coach." I nod my own discontent. We share our anger. Why can't people read? Why can't people do what everybody else is managing to do? I reach into my bag, put my earphones in, put on some Alanis to unwind. That'll help. Yes, pie and Alanis. Almost as good as pie and quiet. Straight away I feel better, calmer, ready to face the British beast. I slide it out of its bag, unwrap the foil. It's still steaming, just. Yes, I pick it up to take that first bite, when suddenly the middle kiddie, the lively lass, pops her head above the seat in front of me. She smiles. I smile back, trying to ignore her really, only she reaches out her hand. She wants the pie. She's smelt the pie and she wants it. I look at her little expectant face. Suddenly, the kid's mum grabs her, only the child hangs onto the seat for dear life. The mother's trying to pry her off, looking over at me apologetically, but the kiddie now, she's kicking the seat. And even over Alanis, I can hear the child screech with glee. She thinks it's all a game. I put down my pie again, untasted. Take out my earphones to tell the mother not to worry. She'd spied my tea, that's all. That's what's knocked her giddy. Only the mother's pulling and finally she manages to pry her from the seat. And the seat pangs back into position, like the string of a bow. And my pie, like a loosed arrow, is launched from the tray table into the air. I try to catch it, but I only whack it one instead, and it slams into the decades-old train carpet, where it more or less explodes. Alanis still belting it out from the earphones on my lap. I've got one hand in my pocket. I am stunned. The woman opposite is looking at me with a forced smile, and she's nodding towards my lap. And she's shushing me, miming it. She can hear Jagged Little Pill, and she's actually shushing me. I wouldn't mind, but she's had her feet up on the seat next to her, on the ruddy upholstery. My beautiful pie. A minute later, a ticket woman arrives. "Tickets from Leeds," she says. She looks at my squash pie, frowns, then shoves it under the seat with her shoe. And that's the end of it. She goes to the woman opposite first, checks her travel pass. "Thank you, my love." Then she goes to the family. She says, "Tickets." Then she says it a bit louder. "Tickets." She says, "I'll come back." She comes to me. I hand her my ticket, still grieving. She clips it, then goes back to the family, and they begin again raising their voices at one another. But they hand over a stack of tickets. "Where are you going?" Ticket woman asks. They don't answer, just start talking amongst themselves even more loudly, even more frantic. "These are for a different service provider, I'm afraid. These aren't for this rail company." Woman opposite looks appalled. She's halfway out of her seat. "They should be made to get off if they haven't got the right tickets. And they were making a racket too." "I'll be back in a minute," ticket woman says, ignoring her, and she ducks out the carriage. Little kiddie pops her head up over the seat again. She's laughing at me. Hasn't a clue what's happening. This time the dad moves to get her. He looks at me and is frightened. Something's scaring him. When ticket woman comes back, she's got a colleague with her, ginger fella. They look at the family. "Excuse me," says the woman opposite. "Excuse me, but wouldn't you ask me to leave the train if I hadn't bought the correct tickets? Why is it a different rule for them?" "Madam, we're dealing with this," says the new fella. And then the dad says something to the train workers, something about passports. Quietly, in English, without confidence. He points at the younger man, lowers his voice and speaks again. I only catch 2 words: wife and no. I look at the younger man. He's staring out of the train window. New fella says, "There's not a lot we can do. These are the wrong tickets." Woman opposite clocks me, smiles, "We've got 'em now." "And excuse me," she says, "excuse me, but they were being very noisy." She points to the quiet coach sign. Ginger fella says, "You're going to have to buy new tickets for all of you." The dad stands up. He's in a panic. You can see that. Searching his pockets, turning them out, talking to his wife not very kindly. Some of the kids are crying now, and the woman opposite, she's up on her feet and she's yelling. Other passengers are up too and they're chiming in. It's chaos on the quiet coach. Then I stand up. Woman opposite looks at me like we're allies. I go to the ticket woman and say, "Where are they going?" She tells me. "Aye, well, that's my stop. How much is it," I ask, "for all of them?" She tells me. I hand it over. Woman opposite shouts, "You can't do that." So I turn to the ticket woman and say, "And that lady keeps putting her feet upon the seats." "Madam, will you not put your feet on the seats, please?" says the ticket woman. Woman opposite looks furious. The family look a bit calmer. Kid is still carrying on. We share a few nods. The dad thanks me. I shake my head and it's fine. He reaches out his hand, but I refuse to look at it. Think for some reason he's trying to give me money. It's only after an handshake. So I must have looked right rude. When it's all settled, ticket woman gives them the tickets. First thing the dad does is turn to the wife and gives her a little kiss. Well, even I can tell it's an apology. I know that sort of kiss. When we get off, they're all laden up, of course, but the dad and the young man insist on helping me with my bag. I won't hear of it, but they keep trying. Keep smiling at them, politely, business-like. As we leave the station, I go to chuck my pie bag in a bin. The dad points at it. It's a question. "Oh," I say, "it was a pie." And I show him the picture on the front. "Oh, pie," he says. We all get, well, not exactly chatting, but exchanging a few words. Young bloke's English is quite good, actually. Turns out they're heading for Heathbridge Gardens. That's the estate opposite mine, where Ken lives. When we get to my house, we all smile and nod, and this time we do shake hands, all of us. And the dad points out their address on Heathbridge. I say, well, I'll pop round for a cup of tea. Didn't have any plans to. They struggle off with their bags. I'd more or less forgotten all about it. Then one afternoon I came back from the job centre and there was this flat box on my doorstep. I picked it up, carried it in and opened it. And there were these little things like mini Cornish pasties. There was a note with them. Just said, pie. My God, they were. I only went round to thank them. First of all, they were right welcoming. So I pop round just now and then. Their English is coming on, and they're trying to teach me a bit of their language too. I'm hopeless. The mother, Amina, she started to teach me how to cook. And I've been helping them with their paperwork and what have you. There's a lot they have to do, but I've said I'll do what I can. Turns out the dad, Amar, he used to be a science teacher back home. And the young lad, Abood, he was something in IT. He's a real revelation. Right nice lad, right kind, and funny. He met his wife while he was studying over here. Just this brief exchange thing for the two of them. That's why his English is a bit better than the others. Then they, Abood and his wife Marla, moved back over there. They were crossing the border. Someone was shooting at them. They thought it was just a little nick, a little flesh wound. She was joking about it, Abood said. That's what she was like. She encouraged him to go on without her. Said she'd be all right in the hospital, but he wouldn't leave her. Anyway, she died and told Abood about my Emma. It's not the same. But when you lose someone, sometimes you just want to find somebody who knows what it's like. I made these. Amina supervised. Well, she helped a bit. I didn't get that job in Leeds, but I've had an interview here, down the road, working with refugees. They reckoned my smattering of the language might help, so fingers crossed.